What's going on, everybody? It's Kevin Hines. I hope you will watch this chapter of Stay Alive, our suicide prevention film, to hear my personal story when I was feeling alone and like a burden to everyone around me. I did indeed jump off the Golden Gate Bridge in an attempt to die by suicide, but thankfully I survived. And I have had lessons learned over this lifetime that can benefit everyone who is in pain, mental, physical, emotional, spiritual. It's about finding that unconditional love, that care and empathy, and I hope you will watch or click here.
I want to try something with you, Rayko. Okay?
I'm a mess.
No, you're gonna. This is a 5-tissue question, so trust me on this one. So I'm going to tell you an anecdote, and then tell me if you can relate to it. So years ago, there was a woman that I was mentoring, and she's a force of nature. She's an amazing performer. She gets all kinds of things done, and I think she's running towards things, but she's running away from something. So if you know that energy, that sometimes when you just feel a lot of energy, you seem to be running towards something, but there's a part of you that's running away from something. So I was with her, and I said, I know something, I know what you're most afraid of. I said, you're not afraid of criticism, judgment, or being controlled. You don't like those, but you're pretty defended against them because you deal with them every day. And I said, do you know what you're really afraid of? And she said, what? And I said, what you're really afraid of is being unconditionally, emotionally, psychologically safe and loved, and there's nothing you can do to earn it, and there's nothing you can do to lose it. And she looked at me, and she went, whew. And she collapsed on the couch. She started crying. And she cried for about 5 minutes. And then she got up, and I said, what was that about? She said, you just hit a nerve. She said, I've never known that. I don't know what it's like to feel unconditionally, emotionally, psychologically safe and loved, and I don't have to do anything for it. And she said, and the pain, and the pain of not having it, the pain of sweeping all the things under the rug that I, as a little girl, couldn't cope with because I was just a little girl and I didn't have the right parents. She said, she says, I don't know what you just did, but can you relate to any of that?
Yep, wow. Completely. My mother is my role model. She, we used to have everything and we lost everything. It's, it's such a broad brush way to say it, but it's what happened to us. And she's such a strong person, like a samurai, very stoic, Japanese strong person. She was the person that never gave up on me. And one thing about and I'm sure you can relate with you get so tired of trying to keep her happy. She says that she is so happy when I'm happy. Parents will say that, but I